Okay, so again, good morning, grade 12 BAS and ABM. So for today, we're going to discuss applied economics, chapter 2 already, about law of supply and demand. And I guess we have already discussed yung basic topics ng law of supply and then yung law of demand. And for now, nagkaroon rin tayo ng brief discussion about the market equilibrium last time. And then we'll discuss it again today. So market equilibrium. Okay, so the Philippines is an agricultural country. Rice is the most important staple crop of the country. And actually talagang agricultural country itong Pilipinas. And dapat yung government nagpo-focus sa agriculture natin. Masyado kasing ambisosyo ang Pilipinas, no? Like ang dami ng mga buildings and then iba't ibang operations na non-agricultural. But I think if nag-focus ang government or yung mga businesses sa agriculture, I think magpo-prosper ang Philippines. Kasi yung Pilipinas talagang nakadesign siya for the agricultural. However, the country is experiencing rice shortage and thus began importing rice from neighboring countries. Ayan, so despite na yung Philippines is yung talagang yung yung naka-design talaga siya for agriculture. Like ang dami nating yamang tubig. Yan, nakapalibot sa atin yung yamang tubig, and then feel ko mayayaman naman talaga yung natin dito, yung soil natin. And since hindi naman talaga nag-focus ang government sa agriculture natin, nag-start tayo ng importing rice from other country. And why does the Philippines experience rice shortage? How can the country solve its rice shortage issues? Okay, so yon. For our learning competency, we should be able to learn or to explain how equilibrium, price, and quality are determined. Explain the market equilibrium, and we should apply the law of demand and supply to illustrate how equilibrium, price, and quantity are determined. So again, we will be having activity like the seller and then the seller and the buyer. So round one, the seller sells above the minimum selling price. Buyer buys below the maximum selling price. Okay, I think we can do this activity kasi baka maguluhan lang tayo. Okay, so let's skip this one. And seller sells above the minimum selling price, and then the buyer buys below the maximum price. Okay, so what happens to the market when the supply or demand changes? Okay, so the state of balance when quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. So again, the market equilibrium, yung quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. Okay, so kumbaga yung supplied na yung supplied na supplies is swak doon sa hinihingi or dinedemand ng market. So equilibrium quantity is the quantity demanded and quantity supplied at equilibrium. So for example, kung gaano kadami yung dinedemand ng market, ganun din kadami yung sinusupply ng supplier. And yung equilibrium price naman, yan, marketing clearing price is price where QD and QS. So ito naman yung price na napagkasunduan naman ng market and at the same time ng supplier. Okay, so for example, 50 pesos lang yung gustong bilhin ng yung product na yun, gustong bilhin siya at 50 pesos, and then pumayag si seller. So yun, may ano na kayo, may equilibrium price na rin kayo nun. Okay, so for example, I would like to buy your 50 kavans of rice at 720 per kavan. Okay, I could sell my 50 kavans of rice at 720 per kavan. Okay, so yon, I think meron ditong equilibrium price and then may equilibrium quantity. Yan. So demand curve, as the price of goods and services increases, the quantity demand decreases. So yon, parang at the point of view ng buyer, ayan, so yung habang tumataas ang presyo ng goods or ng products, yung urge natin to buy that product magdi-decrease. Di ba gano'n naman talaga, no? Pag tumataas ang presyo ng isang bagay, parang yung willingness natin na bilhin yun, bumababa. Okay, so parang point of view ito ng buyer. Next, yung supply curve naman, point of view naman ng mga seller. So as the price of goods and services increases, the quantity supplied is also increases. Okay, so parang habang tumataas yung presyo nung goods na pwede nating ibenta siya, yung willingness natin na ma-produce yung products na yon or yung goods na yon or services na yun, tumataas din. Okay, so market equilibrium exists at the point where demand and supply curves intersect. Okay, so tawag dito yung demand and supply curves intersect. So yung point, diba, yung supply curve, right siya. And then yung demand naman, yung slope niya, pa left. Yung increase. So yon, pag nag-meet yon, yung point na where siya nag-meet, ayun yung market equilibrium. Okay, so gets ba natin? And state of imbalance, where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. Dapat is not equal. Yan. Where the quantity demanded is not equal to the quantity supplied. Yan. Okay, so first, imbalance, yung shortage na tinatawag. Excess demand in the market, and then quantity demanded greater than the quantity supplied. So meaning, sobrang ang daming willing to buy that product, pero yung market or yung seller, hindi nila kayang mag-supply ng ganun kadami. So, for example, yung mga face mask, like yung parang mga first month ng pandemic or sa kahit ngayong sa Bulkang Taal, diba biglang nagkaubusan yung face mask. So, ang daming nagde-demand ng face mask, pero yung market natin or yung seller natin, they can't produce such demand or such number of face masks. Okay, so meron tayong shortage na tinatawag. So kulang yung nasusupply sa market ng seller sa kailangan ng mga tao. Okay? Shortage, price falls below equilibrium price. Ayan, so yung price, ito yung pataas, parang yung tinatawag na, ito yung x-axis na tinatawag. Am I right? Kasi ito yung y-axis. Correct me if I'm wrong ha, kasi medyo kalimutan ko na rin yung map. Pero yun, itong pataas, yung price, and then yung nasa baba, baliktad ako. So ito yung x-axis, yung Q, tapos y-axis itong P. Okay. Okay, so thanks for correcting me. Ayun. Okay, so itong y-axis, yung P natin or yung price, and then yung x-axis natin yung Q or yung quantity. So pag may shortage, yung price daw, yung price falls below the equilibrium price. Okay, so ito yung equilibrium price natin where the supply and demand curve intersect. Ayan, so as you can see here, bumaba daw yung price. Okay? So, paano natin siya i-interpret? Okay? So, meron tayong 2 points here. Actually, marami siyang point, pero we'll discuss yung kung saan yung intersect, kung saan yung mga slope natin. So yung first, ito, ayan. So let's say na 50 pesos to, no? Ito yung 100 pesos. And then, ito naman 50, 100, and then 150. Yan, ito naman 50 and then 100. Okay, so 100 na equilibrium price and then 100 na quantity. So nag-meet sila, no? They can produce 100 na quantity ng rice and then at the price of 100. So pag meron tayong shortage, ayan, 50 yung price. So 50 lang yung willing na ibenta ng or i-produce ng seller. Okay? Syempre kasi 'di ba as price go lower pag sa supply curve, bumababa din yung bumababa din yung willingness na i-produce siya ng seller. Okay? So at the price of 50 lang din yung kayang i-produce ng seller. Okay? Next naman, ito sa demand curve. Ayan. So 50 at the price of 50, tawag dito, 50 yung price and then 1 to 50. Ayan, sa demand curve, ayan, pag 50 yung presyo, ayan, 50, 100, 150. 150 yung may willing na bumili. Okay? 150 yung may willing na bumili at the price of 50. Pero pag ang presyo niya ay 50 pesos, 50 lang yung willing na i-produce ng seller. So meron tayong 100 no na shortage. Nagets ba natin? Kumbaga pag sa demand curve 100 yung 50 na willing na bumili nun, ayan yung demand curve natin. Pero since 50 pesos lang siya, 50 lang yung willing na i-produce ng seller. So meron tayong 100 na shortage. Gets niyo ba? Gets ba natin? Say yes if yes. Ayan, medyo mahirap siyang intindihin. Let me know kung nabigla kayo. Ayan, gets naman ba yung part na to? Okay, if not, let me know. Ulitin natin, madali lang naman siya. Madali lang naman siyang ulitin. Okay, so again, no, pag nasa market equilibrium tayo, ayan, yung 100 pesos, tapos nag-agree si seller na 100 din yung kaya niyang i-produce and at the same time, 100 din yung demand. Yan, 100 yung demand, 100 din yung willing na i-supply na i-supply yung product na yun. Pero pag may shortage tayo, ayan, so pag sa supply curve, 150 pesos, so 50 lang yung pwedeng, parang willingness na i-produce yung product na yun ng seller pag sa supply curve. And then pag sa demand naman, 150 yung demand pag nasa 50 pesos. Syempre, no, 'di ba? Pag mas mababa yung presyo, mas madami may gustong bumili. Pero yun nga, unti lang yung ipoproduce ni seller kasi di naman siya magbebenta ng ganun kamura. Baka malugi siya. Okay? So example of shortage yan, yung face mask nga and then yung face shield din ata, no, and another essentials for COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so factors affecting shortage: increase in demand for goods and services, decrease in supply of goods and services, and the government intervention such as imposing price ceiling. For example, sa face mask ata, no, dapat hindi ganun kalaki yung presyo or else ipapasara ng government. So yung mga seller, parang hindi na sila magpo-produce nun kasi baka nga malugi sila doon sa presyong in-impose ng government. Surplus naman, ayan, excess supplies in the market. Quantity supplied greater than the quantity supplied. Ito naman, napakadaming kayang i-produce ng mga seller, no? Ang dami nilang kayang i-produce sa supply, pero maliit lang yung demand for that product. Okay, so surplus naman na price is shown above the equilibrium price. Okay, so again, yung equilibrium natin, yung market equilibrium natin, again, 100 yung price, nagkasundo si supplier at yung mga buyer at 100 na quantity. So parang walang tapon, no? Wala ring kulang. Okay, so sa 100 pesos nagkasundo yung supply at demand. Okay, so pag surplus naman, ayan, paano siya nagkakaroon ng surplus? Ang daming willing na i-supply si supplier, pero yung willing na bumili nun, unti lang. Okay, so for example, let's check this point. Yan, ito naman 100, di ba? Let's say ito 150 pesos. Okay, so pag 150 pesos yung presyo ng product na yun, yung demand nun for that product, unti lang. Kasi 'di ba, as pag point of view ng buyer, pag mas malaki yung presyo ng product, yung willingness nating bilhin yun, bumababa. Okay? So yon, unti lang yung may willing na bumili ng 150 pesos. 50 lang, no? Yung may willing na bumili. Okay? So 50 yung may willing na bumili at 150 pesos na price. Okay? So, syempre, 150 pesos yung price ng product. Yung, yung seller naman, yung willingness nilang i-produce yun, 200 ba? 50, 100, 150. 150 yung kaya nilang i-produce or yung willingness nilang i-produce yung product na yun. Okay? At 150 pesos. Okay? Syempre, at the point of view naman ng seller, no, pag mas mataas yung presyo ng product, willing tayong i-produce yun. So, yun nga lang, nagkakaroon ng surplus, kumbaga nagkakaroon ng tapon na tinatawag. Kasi yung bibili lang naman yan, 50 lang naman. No? 150 nga yung na-produce mo, pero 50 lang yung may willing na bumili niyan. So merong masasayang na 100. Okay? Gets ba natin? Yan. Say yes kung na-gets natin. If not, let me know so we can repeat the explanation. Gets? Gets ba? Gets? Okay, so let's move on. Example of surplus. In 2019, the Philippine market experienced a surplus of 2 million kilograms of mangoes. At the time, the country produced an excess supply of mangoes due to El Nino. Okay, so napakadaming mangga, no, na na-produce during 2019. Pero yung willing na bumili nun onti lang. So, yon, nagiging surplus siya. Okay, ano pa bang may mga may ganyang, minsan meron tayong mga mababalita sa sa TV na yung mga farmers, nakakaawa sila kasi unti lang yung bumibili nung gulay nila and then nasisira lang siya. Ayun. So, I think dapat isa yun sa pagtuunan ng pansin ng government, yung mga napoproduce ng farmers natin. Okay? Factors affecting surplus, increase in supply of goods and decrease in demand. Government intervention such as imposing price floor. Okay, so using demand and supply curve. Yan, combine the demand and supply curves into one graph. Yan, so if the demand and the supply curves are already combined in one graph, move to the next step. Yan, so yan, i-combine lang daw natin yung supply curve and demand curve. Yan. So yung intersection, ayun yung sinasabing equilibrium price. Ayan. So if you'll see here, no, yung mga point, no? Ayan. So for example, let's check. Ito yung isang point, itong red na point, ito yung equilibrium price. Okay, so let's see merong price fall o yung tinatawag na shortage. Ayan. So, itong point na to, and then we can check din itong point na to. Ano ba sila magka-point? Ayan, tama, magka-point sila. So, here, ayan, let's say, 80, 600. Tig 50 ba to? 650, 650, 700, 750. Ay, 750. Okay, so for example, ito, sige, estimate na lang natin, 675. 675 na presyo nung isang sako ng bigas, 20 lang yung willing na ibenta or i-produce ng seller. Okay? So, 675 na presyo, 20 lang yung kayang i-produce ng seller or willingness nila na i-produce yung sako ng bigas na yon. Okay? So for the demand naman, since maliit yung presyo, mas mababa, 675 lang. Yung demand madami, 100, no? Yung may gustong bumili nun. Okay? So nagkakaroon tayo ng shortage. Kasi ang daming may gustong bumili ng 675 na sako ng bigas. Pero yung gustong i-produce lang ng seller, 20 lang. Okay? So meron tayong shortage. Yan. Next naman, no, let's check this point. Itong nasa itaas, ito, tapos ito. Okay? Let's estimate na 900 to. 900 pesos, since mas mataas dun sa equilibrium price. Ayan, 20 lang yung may gustong bumili no, yung 900 pesos na kaban ng rice. Yan, so 20 yung may may willing na bumili noon. Pero syempre dahil mas malaki yung presyo nung sako ng bigas na yun, 900 pesos, yung producer naman natin or yung seller natin, 100 yung gusto niyang i-produce na sako ng bigas. So nagkakaroon naman tayo ng surplus noon, no? Kasi nga 20 lang naman yung may gustong bumili noon, pero 100 yung ipoproduce ng seller. So meron tayong tapon na 80 na sako ng bigas. Okay, nagets ba natin? Okay, nagets natin? Okay, so for another example, pataas naman tayo. Okay, so let's talk about the yung ano naman, yung same quantity pero magkaibang presyo. Okay, this point, ito yung 900, no? 900, and then itong point na to. Okay? So yung 100, kunyari gustong gusto nila walang tapon, no? Walang tapon na na-produce na na sako ng bigas. So at the price, at the 100 na quantity, ayan, 100 na quantity na demand at 100 quantity din na ipoproduce ng seller, yan, hindi sila mag-meet kasi magtatalo sila sa price. So for example, 900, ipoproduce ko lang to 900 dapat yung 900 yung presyo. Okay? Kasi kung hindi ko yan bibilhin, yung ganyang kadami ng sako ng bigas kasi ang kaya ko lang ay bibilhin ko lang yan at the cost of pinapag-usapan, 700 siguro or 675. Yun, nag-estimate lang ako So 675 pesos, willing akong bilhin yung 100 na quantity. Pero si seller, 900 pesos, 100 na quantity. Okay, so let's say merong difference na 900 minus 675. 225 pesos na difference sa presyo, no? Na para lang mag-meet sila sa same na quantity. Okay? Same here din. Ayan. Okay? So, ayan. So, ayun. Nag-gets na ba natin yung part na yon? Ayan. Yan. So, pag pataas tayo, like yung sinasabi ni Seth na x-axis, tama ba ako? Ay, y-axis pala. Y-axis again, pag pataas yung horizontal. Tama ba ako? Vertical na ako. Nalilito na ako. Ayan. So, again, yung y-axis natin. Ayan, y-axis. Ayan. Ang naman natin, ang i-check naman dito, yung difference with price. Okay? Pag x-axis, yung pahiga naman. Am I right, no? X-axis. Hoping na tama na ako. Yan, yung x-axis naman natin, ang difference naman nun, yung quantity. Okay? Yung difference with the quantity na kayang i-supply and then kayang bilhin. Okay, gets na ba natin? Yan, kaya nyo na bang i-interpret yung mga points na to? Yan, kung may surplus ba, may difference with the price, may equilibrium price na ba siya, ganun. Gets na ba natin? Yan. Just say yes if yes. If not, yan, we can talk it about later, no? Or i-repeat ulit natin. Okay, gets na ba? Gets? Gets na ba natin ang market equilibrium? Ang surplus, ang shortage? Yan, okay. If yes, okay, let's move on. Okay. Yan. So during disaster relief operations, charitable organizations conducting relief operations usually provide instant noodles as part of its relief packages to displaced residents in evacuation centers. Families outside of evacuation centers also buy instant noodles since it is easy to cook. Thus, when you go out to buy instant noodles in the grocery, you might see empty shelves in the instant noodles aisle. On the next slide are the demand and supply curves for instant noodles when Taal volcano erupted in January 2020. Okay, so using the graph, identify the market equilibrium and the market clearing price where market equilibrium is achieved. Okay, so nasaan yung natin, market equilibrium natin, nasaang point? Di ba pag nag-describe tayo ng ng point x, y? Yan. So nasaang point yung yung market equilibrium natin? Anyone? Yan, nasaan ang market equilibrium natin? Anong point? Ayan. So nasa 20x and 8y. Okay? So 20x, 28. Okay? So ito yung market equilibrium natin. So meaning at the price of 8 pesos, yan 20 yung kayang i-produce and then yung demand din niya 20 din. So walang tapon. Okay? Lahat mabibili, lahat mabibigyan, lahat makakabili. Yan. So the market for the instant noodles is an equilibrium at 20 instant noodles and 8 pesos per instant noodles. Yan. So market equilibrium price is 8 pesos per pack of instant noodles. Okay, so kaya na ba nating kaya nyo bang i-interpret yung mga points na to? Yan, yung mga itong point na to, itong point na to, ano relationship nila sa in relationship between these 2 points, itong point na to, ayang point na yan. Yan, kaya nyo na ba siyang i-interpret? Or isa pang paliwanag? Karina? Kaya na ba? Kaya? Okay, so last na paliwanag na daw para sure. Para sure na tayong nagigets natin. Okay, so ito, di ba, yung 20x, ay yung sinasabi nga ni Seth at ni Akoba na 20 at 8 na price, 20 na quantity, and then 8 na price, diyan nagkakasundo yung supply at demand curve natin. Okay? So again, sabi daw at the price of 8 pesos, 20 yung willing na i-produce ng mga supplier. And then yung demand for 8 pesos, 20 din. Okay? So again, walang tapon, wala ding kulang. No? So lahat mabibigyan ng noodles, lahat makakabili ng noodles. Okay? So ito naman, let's check this point. Itong dalawa na to. Okay? So yun, for example, merong buyer na gustong bumili ng 10, no? Parang bultuhan, wholesale. Okay? So si supplier, ayan, sabi niya, siguro i-estimate natin 7 pesos to. Yan. Yan. Yung 7 pesos daw, ayan, ang willing daw na i-produce ng seller, since itong orange na to ay supply curve. Yan, yung orange na yung supply curve yan. Yung papunta sa right. Yan. So supply curve yan. Ito naman yung blue na to, ito yung demand curve. So sabi dito, no, yung at the price of 7 pesos, 10 lang yung willing i-produce ng supplier. Okay? So yon, 'di ba? Nasa below below siya ng market equilibrium natin. Yan. So syempre pag 7 pesos lang yan yung syempre 10 lang yung ipoproduce ng supplier. Okay? And then ito at the price of 9 pesos, ayan, 10 din naman yung mapoproduce. So yan, dito at this price, no, magkakaroon naman ng tubo yung supplier natin. Okay? Dito parang maganda tong point na to, itong part na to. Okay? So may tubo yung natin. May tubo yung supplier natin. Okay? So yun, 7 pesos ipoproduce ng supplier, tapos 9 pesos naman willing na bilhin siya. So may tubo yung supplier natin. Okay? So next, ito namang point na to. Ayan, dito naman, ayan, ito yung mga part na ayaw naman ng mga supplier kasi meron silang, kumbaga pag ito sinunod nila, lugi sila. Okay? So yon. Okay, this point naman, no, 9 pesos, ayan, 9 pesos yung noodles, and then let's say 25 to. Ayan. So bibili daw kunyari si customer ng 25 na noodles, pero ang gusto niya, ang presyo lang nun ay 8 pesos, 8.5 pesos. Okay? So hindi sila magkakasundo, no? Kasi sabi niya, yung 25 na yon, ipoproduce ko yon, pero at the price of 9 pesos. Okay? Ayan. So malulugi sila, no? Ayan, sa part na to. 9 pesos yan. Hindi sila magkakasundo at hindi rin siya mapoproduce, no? Or if ipoproduce man to ni seller, lugi siya kasi 850 lang to bibilhin ni customer eh. Ayan. Pero yung presyo nun, pag yung presyo na gusto mo siyang ibenta, 9 pesos. So malulugi ka naman sa part na to. Okay? So itong part na to, itong pag sinade natin to, ayan, loss naman to. Pag itong part na to, pag sinade natin yan, income yan. Okay, nagets ba natin? Or you agree? Yan. So let's talk about naman itong point na to. Itong point here to point na ito. Okay? So dito at the price of 9 pesos, let's estimate lang, no? Yan, wala kasing number eh. Pero yan, let's estimate na 9 pesos to. Yan. 9 pesos na price ng noodles, ayan, ang may willing lang na bumili nun ay 10. Okay? Since mahal nga siya, mas malaki dun sa equilibrium price natin or market equilibrium natin. Yung mga supplier, willing silang i-produce yun at a quantity of 25. Okay? So, meron tayong surplus, no, or meron tayong tapon if in case na ma-produce siya ni supplier. Okay, so I think 15, no, 15 na tapon or 15 na surplus. Okay, so next point naman, itong point na to, and then itong point na to. Okay, so here, ayan, let's say, 8 pesos and 50 centavos. And then 15. So, okay. So, at the price of 8 pesos and 50 centavos, willing na i-produce ng mga supplier natin ay 15 lang. No? Pero since dahil mura nga siya, yan, maraming may gustong bumili nun. Like 25. Okay? So, at kung 25 yung willing na bumili nun, tapos 15 lang yung willing i-supply, merong 10, no? 10 na 10 person na na hindi masasatisfy or hindi mabibigyan nung noodles na yun. Okay? Oh, ano to? Like, tama, 750 pala, 750. Ayan. Below pala siya dito. Ayan. Thanks for correcting me. Yan. 7 pesos or 7.50 or I think 7.75 nga siya. Wala kasing number, no? Magulo. Yan. 7.50, let's say. Ayan, or 7.75. Ayan. So at the price again of 7.75, 15 yung willing na i-supply, yung may willing na bumili, 25. So merong 10 na quantity na hindi hindi masasatisfy or hindi maibibigay. Okay? Gets na ba natin? Okay, so I think gets na, no? If not, you can just ping me, no, sa messenger or just chat me in the messenger. Okay, so many consumers are shifting towards online shopping. Online shopping sites regularly hold sale and offer big discounts and free shipping on repeating dates such as 6.6, 7.7, 12.12, even cut-offs like 15 and 30th, merong sale. No, parang hindi na siya bago, no, laging may sale, lalo na sa Shopee and Lazada. On a popular platform, sale in November 2019, mobile products such as smartphones and its accessories were the most both products based on its 3-month sales. The demand and supply curves of a certain smartphone model are shown below. 2019. Ayan, so yung cellphone daw na ito, no, yung smartphone daw na ito yung ano niya, yung 3-month na performance niya. So at the price of 3,400 yung ano natin, yung na-produce at na-demand for that smartphone. Okay, you can answer this you can answer this or analyze this or interpret this chart, no? Pag may nakakita kayong graph na ganito sa applied economics, try nyo siyang i-interpret. Ayan. And then you can chat me, no, if tama yung interpretation nyo. Just for your self-assessment na lang din. Okay, next, using the demand and supply schedule, compare the demand and supply schedule. Ideally, a table shall be created to easily compare the quantities against price. Identify the price at which quantity demanded under demand schedule is similar to the quantity supplied under the supply schedule. This price and quantity is where market equilibrium is achieved. Yeah. So the Philippines is one of the tough milk fish, or yung tilapia ba to? Na tinatawag, yung milk fish, tilapia ba yun? And produced in the world in 2010, wherein 55% of the total milk fish production came from the country. Since demand in milk fish was growing globally, the country also exported milk fish to the United States, Canada, and Japan. However, in 2019, milk fish production decreased due to fewer production of milk fish in aquaculture facilities. Yeah, several factors contributed to this decline, such as fewer fishing operators interested in milk fish production and cold weather affecting milk fish reproduction. Shown on the next slide is the average price of milk fish per kilo based on the local consumers' demands and milk fish producers' supply for 2019. Identify the market equilibrium price, the quantity demanded, and quantity supplied where the market equilibrium is reached. Ayan. So ito, pag meron tayong ganitong schedule, you can try to make a graph, no? And gumawa kayo ng mga points here using this data. So the market for bangus in 2019 is in the equilibrium at 950 kilos, 950,000 kilos of bangus. At 135 pesos of kilo of bangus. Equilibrium price is 135 kilo of bangus. Yan, so ayun, I think this is an activity. You can do this for your own self-assessment then. Ayan. Yan. So using demand and supply function, if demand and supply function in terms of QD and QS is given, if the demand and supply functions are expressed in terms of QD and QS, equate both expressions since QD is equal to QS. And let's solve the price. So the substitute the value of P to either demand or supply functions to obtain the equilibrium quantity. Okay, so para malaman natin kung ano yung equilibrium price, di ba ang equation niya is QD and QS. QD is equal to QS. So i-equate our tawag dito. Ayun, so i-substitute nyo lang yung P sa both demand and quantity. Ayan, so simplify QD and QS as Q. So substitute the value of Q to either demand, for ano naman to, for the quantity. So again, try natin itong P. Magbukas ako ng Excel para mag-gets natin. So, kung if we're not using the graph, we'll just use the formula. Ano natin makukuha yung market equilibrium price or clearing price. Okay, so for the price daw, market equilibrium. Kunyari hindi tayo nagawa ng graph, gusto lang natin makuha kung ano ba yung market equilibrium price using the formula. Ayan, so ano lang naman daw, QD is equal to QS. Yan, for example, ano daw yung market equilibrium price kung parehas silang 100? Ano daw yung price for 100? Tama ba akong ginagawa ko? 100 na Q, 100 na demand, tapos 100 din na S. I think mag-zero out to. Substitute the value of P to either demand and or supply function to obtain the equilibrium quantity pala to. Okay, gets, wait lang. Ayan. Ayun, so quantity pala to. Para makuha natin, kunyari for example, 100 pesos, ano natin makukuha yung quantity demand. Okay. Next, yan, substitute the value of P to either demand or supply functions to obtain the equilibrium quantity. Okay, so if the demand and supply function in terms of P is given, if the demand and supply functions are expressed in terms of P, equate the expression since at equilibrium, price is the same for QD and QS. Simplify QD and QS as Q. Substitute the value of Q to either, okay. So for example, here in the 2017 readership survey conducted by National Book Development Board, 37 of Filipinos are willing to spend 100 to 199 to buy a printed new book at the same year. The demand function for printed new books is QD is equal to 500 minus 0.P. So the supply function for the same product is QS is equal to 50 plus 2P. Okay, so i-equate lang natin siya. So, di ba, QD is equal to QS. So, yung QD daw is 50 minus 0.5P and then yung QS 50 plus 2P. Wait lang. Lagyan natin yan dito. Ito ba yung ano ko? Tingnan natin. Yung QD 500. And then yung isa 50 plus. Okay. So, nai-imagine nyo na ba? Ayan. So, paano natin makukuha yung equilibrium price? Pag ito daw, quantity naman, equilibrium or market equilibrium na quantity, papalitan lang daw natin to ng Q. Para makuha naman natin kung ano daw yung quantity, no? Kung saan sila, kung ano yung quantity na mag-i-swak sila. And then, pag price naman yung gusto natin kunin, palitan lang natin ng P. Okay? So, sabi, ang market equilibrium kasi is QD is equal to QS. So, ang mangyayari, anong mangyayari? Pwede nyo i-type sa chat box kung na-gets natin yung formula. Yan, magiging ano siya, di ba? Magiging 500, magiging 500. Sa una, 500 minus 0.5 P is equal to 50.2P. Plus 2P pala, plus 2P. Ayan, kasi nga QD is equal to QS. Gets? Tama ba? Tama? Okay. Okay, so pag ganito, di ba, tinatranspose natin yung P or yung merong variables dito sa gilid, sa left side, and then those na walang variables, nililipat natin sa right side. Okay? So, nagiging 0.5P minus 2P is equal to 500 minus 500 plus 50. Excel nga pala to. Ayan. So, magugulo siya. Tama yan. Negative 2P minus 0.5P. Yan, huwag sana siya mag-equate. Nag-equate siya. Anyway. Wait lang. Excel kasi to kaya nag-equate eh. Lagyan ko na naman ganito. Ayan. Para hindi magkaroon na, para hindi siya ma-equate. Yan kasi pag sa Excel, pag may mga equals, nag-ano siya, nagka-calculate. Okay. So, eto, no? So, next naman, baba natin ito. Sakyan ko nga ito. Yan. Kita naman. Yan, so kita. Ayan, so pag kinupit natin, magiging 2.5 P. Lagyan natin. Para di siya mag-equate. Nag-equate kasi siya eh. Negative 450. Ayan. So, 2.5. Okay, so P is equal to, tama ba ako? 250. Ganito din ba nakuha nyo? Ganito rin ba nakuha nyo? 180? Ayan, ganito din ba nakuha nyo? After calculating, 180 ba? 180? Okay? So the same answer ba sa nakuha nyo? Nag-solve ba? Nag-solve? 140. What 140? Tama, di ba? 500. 450 divided by 2.5. Anong nakuha ng sagot? Yan, you can try to calculate. Tama yun, tama lang yun. Oo, tama lang din yung mo. Try mo lang ulit i-divide. 450. Divide mo by 2.5. Ayan, kasi nag-calculate ako eh. Yan, let's say 450. Nag-compute ba kayo? Ayan. 180 talaga. Okay, so 180. Okay? So, gets ba natin yung equation? Ayan. Okay, using the given demand and supply function, quantity din naman yung solve the equilibrium price and the quantity at which the demand for printed new books is equal to supply. Okay, so ito yung sagot, 180 for the equilibrium price. For the equilibrium quantity naman is 410. Ano na kayo nakuha yung 410? 180. Teka lang may tatry lang ako. 500. Hindi mag-equate yun. Ano kayo nakuha yung 410? Wait lang ina-analyze ko lang kung paano nila nakuha tong 410 na books. Okay, quantity demand. Okay, so yung 150 pesos na 180 pesos pala, itatranspose lang natin to get the quantity demand. Wait lang try natin checking ako kung paano nila nakuha yung yung 420, 410. Yun. So that's right. Okay, so para makuha yung quantity demanded, ayan, or equilibrium na quantity. Ayan. So, i-ano lang, saan na ba tayo? Ayan. So, itatranspose lang natin dito sa may equation. Di ba nakuha na natin yung price kanina? Dito sa may quantity demand. And I think paras lang naman din siya dito sa may P. Okay, para makuha natin yung 410. Nagko-complete ba kayo? Yan, okay? Okay? So, yon yung para makuha natin yung equilibrium na quantity, yung 180 na price na nakuha natin, i-substitute lang natin or palitan na natin tong P na to doon sa price na nakuha natin to get the quantity demand and then yung quantity supplied. So, yun, 410 yung quantity demand and quantity supplied. Dito sila nag-meet sa 410. Okay, gets ba natin? Gets? Okay. So, next. Okay, so in the same 2017 readership survey, 36% of Filipino adults read or buy storybooks for their children aged 0 to 5 years old. For a given week, the year in the bookstore, the demand function for the storybooks is QD is equal to 200 minus 0.25p, while the supply function is QS is equal to 4 plus 0.25p. Find the equilibrium price and quantity for the storybook in a week for the given bookstore. Okay, so yon. Pwede kayo mag-compute, no? Kuha kayo ng papel, tapos compute natin. Okay, para sure tayong nagets natin. Okay, so try ko din i-compute. Compute nyo din, tapos check ko kung same tayo ng sagot. Okay, chat nyo lang sa chat box kung ano yung nakuha ng sagot. So you can practice din, no? 200. Okay, so let's have mga 3 minutes, no, para ma-compute natin. Meron na kayong sagot? Meron na bang sagot? Okay. Meron na sagot? Okay, so chat. Ako may sagot na ako. Chat nyo lang sa chat box, no? Yung pricing, equilibrium price natin, and then yung quantity. Let's try to solve. Okay, nag-compute. Another minute. Okay, so yun. Ano lang, chat nyo lang sa akin yung sagot nyo. Okay, so sabi, 200 minus 0.25p and then 4 plus 0.25p. So ito yung na-compute ko. Yan. Try nyo din sa sarili nyo para ma-check nyo lang kung na-gets natin yung equation. Okay, so yun, 200 minus 0.25 and then 4 plus 0.25. 200 minus 0.25, may p to may p, is equal to 4 plus 0.25. So, tinranspose ko lang 200 minus 4 is equal to 0.25p plus 0.25p. So, magiging 196 is equal to 0.50 na p. And then, p is equal to 392. Ayan yung nakuha ko. And then next, ano ko na lang, tinranspose ko lang naman yung yung 392 na price doon sa quantity demand para makuha natin yung equilibrium na quantity. So I got 102. Okay, so you can try to answer it by yourself for your self-assessment. So let me know kung same tayo ng answer. Ayan. Gets ba natin yung equation? Gets ba natin yung kung paano siya i-compute? Gets? So I think na-gets natin. Okay, so let's try to answer this one. No? Chat lang natin sa saan po galing yung 300. Ayun, try natin ulit sagutan. Ayun, sabi 200. Titigan nyo kung tama yung pagkakakompute ko ha. Ayun. Tao lang din ako nagkakamali. Ayan, 200 minus 0.25p tapos is equal to 4 plus 0.25p. So, tinranspose ko 200 minus 4 is equal to 0.25p plus 0.25p. Pag pinag-combine natin, nagiging 0.50p. And then yung 200 minus 4 is equal to 196. And then, kinumpute ko siya, ayan, to get the price. So, naging 196 divided by 0.50 is equal to 392. I think, yeah, i-divide. I-divide natin. Tama ba, di ba? Ganun pag nag-compute tayo ng variables, like yung mga x and y. Ayun. Kasi hindi siya pina-plus kasi may kasi siya, may variable. Tama ba? Naalala pa ba natin ng algebra? Ay, yung mga magagaling sa math. Yan, naalala ba natin? Yan, let's reminisce, no? Kasi nga, matagal na yan eh. High school pa tayo yung algebra na yan. Okay? So, tama ba ang computation ko? Tama ba? Okay, just say yes if yes. Tama ba? Nag-compute ba ang iba? Yan. Okay, so tama naman ha. Huwag kayo mag-yes. Mali pala yung tinuturo ko sa inyo, no? Okay, so we got the 392. And then that's why tinranspose ko lang siya either kahit saan dito sa quantity demand or quantity supplied. Yan. So, yon 200 minus 0.25 and then yung minultiply ko lang yung 392. Then we'll get the ano natin, lagyan natin ng parenthesis para sure. And we'll get the 102 na quantity demand and then quantity supply. Try din natin i-transpose yung yung isa. Dapat 102 din yung sagot nun. If not, mali ako. Okay, so tama, no? 102. Okay, gets na ba? So we can move on. Hindi nyo na ba na-miss ang algebra? Ayan. So yun, before we end this discussion, yan, try lang natin sagutan to. No, it is the quantity demanded and supplied at equilibrium. Okay, what's the answer? It is the quantity demanded and supplied at equilibrium. Dito na yung mga jumbled, ano lang natin. Ayusin lang natin. Ayan. It is the quantity demanded and supplied at the equilibrium. Yes, equilibrium quantity. Next, it is the state of balance where the quantity supplied that is equal to the quantity demanded. Yeah, that's the market equilibrium. Next, it is the price where both the price for the quantity demanded is equal to the price of for the quantity supplied. Yes, equilibrium price. Next, it is a market condition where the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied. Okay, that's right, shortage. Next, it is the market condition where there is an excess supply. Surplus. That's right. Market equilibrium is a state of balance where the quantity supplied that the seller would like is equal to the quantity demanded by the buyer at a given price. Okay? Equilibrium price, ito yung price na where both the price of the quantity demanded is equal to the price of quantity supplied. Okay? So nagmi-meet si demand and supply at a certain price. Quantity demanded and quantity supplied at equilibrium is called equilibrium quantity. Okay? So nagmeet si supplier and demand at a certain quantity naman. Okay? Pero might as well, pwede silang hindi magkasundo kasi iba yung presyo na kaya nilang i-offer for that quantity. Okay? Shortage happens when there is excess in demand. And then, pag surplus naman, there is excess in supply. Okay? Yan. So, you can try to answer this one on your own. So, you can try to compute kung ano yung market equilibrium price and then yung quantity. Okay. Exercise nyo lang yung sarili nyo for your self-assessment kung nagets nyo. Okay, any question guys for our market equilibrium? Nagets naman ba natin? Hindi naman siguro tayo na-overwhelm, no? Yan. Pero for the applied economics, dito talaga sila na-overwhelm sa law of demand and supply. Okay, so let me know if merong mga parts na malabo. So we can discuss it again sa next meeting. Okay, so any question? If wala na, okay, we can now drop the call. Thank you everyone. Bye.